everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Journey to the White Coat, a podcast dedicated towards helping pre-meds with their journey to med school. Here to unpack it all with me is AED's president and former host of the podcast, Melody Tran. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi everyone, my name is Melody Tran. I'm the current president of Alpha Epsilon Delta and former hostess of this podcast. I'm currently a senior in my last year, majoring in biology and minoring in public health.
Nice, nice. Well, I'll give a little bit of introduction about myself. I am a junior majoring in mathematical biology. Um, we're both pre-med, of course. And first, we can start off with just first steps of being pre-med and like why did you get into pre-med and how did you find AED?
So for me, medicine has always been like around, in my family. I kind of was like being Asian is like so typical, but I was guide toward like that path like my whole life. But my mom and my dad never like forced anything on me. They want me to, find that out for myself. And just when I grew up, I started seeing like us being in Houston in the largest like medical center in the whole world, like we're always seeing like medical field all surrounded by us, right? I live right next to a hospital, so like always seeing that, I think it has like a really big impact on me as well. But I never really like understood like medicine like that. And I in my direct family, I didn't have anyone in medicine, so I was like very confused or like was kind of lost trying to find my way toward medicine. But when I got to UH, so my first year at UH after I transferred, it was very difficult because I transferred from a community college. So when I first went, I was so lost. I was like, oh my God, all these new people, everyone already had their group. And it was really hard for me to make friends. After I heard about AED from like a pre-health advisor, we actually did a podcast with him, but he told me about AED and he was like, "Oh, you should join." And then out of nowhere, I was walking to the garage and I stumbled across the first general body meeting of like that whole fall semester and I was like very excited. And I was like, "Okay, let me come." I didn't know anybody. I just sat down and one of the previous like officer, she was the treasurer. She sat down right next to me and I was like, "Oh, this is it." She made me feel so welcome. Like everyone was super nice and super friendly. So I wanted to also pass on that like hospitality to everyone else that come and join our organization. So I made it like to make sure like we're always welcoming. We're always like very like attentive to our members, right? And then traveling back to why I did medicine because of AED, I know for sure I wanted to like it put my foot through the door. So we went on a medical brigade to Costa Rica. That was my first experience in actual like giving care to like normal people, like patient and like actually being able to work with sick patient. So I was very intrigued. I was like, I want to continue this. I actually came out and I was like, okay, I love this. This is gonna be my field. This is gonna be what I want to do. And when I came back home, I was like, okay, I need to find a job to like continue this work throughout my undergrad years so that whenever I do continue it or if I get the chance to continue it in medical school, like that will be a really good experience, right?
Yeah, I kind of had a similar experience coming from a community college and no one in my family are doctors, so it's kind of just like a lot of information I had to take in. I was actually a computer science major at first, so just like the transition to all these sciences and MCAT and research and shadowing, it was just kind of like a whole new world for me. I think AED was like a great resource in just meeting people that I could have conversations with. Like my previous mentor, shout out Satvik, he was kind of like Arisha in that he just worked me through all the classes I needed to take and what I should do to become an officer with AED. Um, but yeah, I
How was it like going from computer science to like over to like pre-med? That's such a shift.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy, but like I'm trying to apply it somewhat, and I'm trying to do like computational work, like computational neuroscience is like what I want to do eventually. So I'm trying to like apply both of it, but it was very different.
Well, now you're here and
Yeah,
well, pre-med now.
yeah. I know that there's some freshman or first year pre-med, so I was wondering if you could redo your first year as a pre-med, what would you do differently?
Everyone always asks me like, oh, like, what's your biggest regret? Like,
Yeah.
what would you do take back? Honestly, I always go about like it's your mentality. For me, it's definitely your mentality. I I don't ever look back. Yes, I do like wish I do things differently, but being that I took this route, it made me the person I am today. Like if I didn't do those actions or if I didn't take those steps, I wouldn't have ended up here. I would have ended up somewhere else, which I can't tell, right? I don't know the possibility. But being that I made a lot of mistake in my freshman year, taking like orgo and then taking like really hard science classes all together. So I try to do like my easier classes. I was like, let me save the hard one for the end. So I did all of my easier classes in the beginning. I did like, English. They're not easy, but like it's like
Yeah.
non-science related. I was like doing like history, government, like English, everything in like my first 2 years. And then my last 2 years, I crammed all of my, so I left all of my science for the end. And I was like, why did I do that? Because it's so much more difficult, and the thing is like you don't know how much your GPA like is affected whenever you save all of those for the end, because you could get good grades in like just like regular math, right? And but you need to like take those science classes to wait it out. And it's not a good grad, it makes me like want to work harder for the end, and like because I'm getting to the year where I'm gonna apply soon, so I'm like, okay, let me grind it up. But if I could take it back, I would definitely say like make sure you mix up your classes. Like don't wait till the very end, tech, orgo, biochem, or genetics all at once, right? Save it like throughout your whole year. Plan it accordingly. Like so like your first year you could do like if you're a bio major, like for me, like I had to do biology with like genetics classes first. If you don't take genetics, you can't take any other classes that's like higher bio classes. So make sure you do that first, and then OChem, and then OChem 2, and then biochem your last year. Don't just like take it all together. And lab too, because I had to do a lot of lab, and I just like cram all. I think I did OChem lab 2 and biochem lab at the same time. And those were very like time consuming classes. And I was like struggling every day. And I had AED. I had to work as well too. So like every day, like I was run to AD. Like in the meeting, I was like doing my homework. I'm like, guys, give me 1 second. Like, let me type this out. So it was very, and then I didn't get to enjoy the event as much. So I wish like, I had more time to, figure this out. But I'm glad because, it took me here. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, I would say I had similar in that, well, different for me because I took a bunch of computer science and math classes. So now I'm like front loading all of my science. Like I'm taking like 5 STEM classes right now, and I would not recommend it just given that we have AED and I'm doing research, and so I guess like combining that with like time management and being able to like efficiently study are things that you should probably figure out like early on, because if you don't, then you'll just get overwhelmed and it's pretty easy to get burnt out. Another thing for me is just like finding your motivation, because like times are gonna get hard and like you're gonna want to like give up or be like, why am I pre-med? Like I could be doing so much easier stuff. But like if you remember like why you're doing this in the first place, you can use that as like a pretty strong motivation to like keep yourself going during the hard times.
I also like I think it's okay to give up sometimes. Like people don't realize
Yeah.
that like it's we all make mistakes and we all fail. Like we gotta be you're with yourself 24/7. So the only person that's most gracious to you is yourself. So I had multiple like occasion where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't want to go to med school anymore. Like let me find something else. Like why do I have to be a doctor? Like why do I like it so much? And I tried to like find other hobbies, find other, career that I could venture into. And I did. But I realized like it always take me back to medicine. So in like I realized like, oh, okay, this is not like and my mom always have a saying, you don't pick your career choose you. Right. So like everything I do always take me back to medicine. So it's like even though I try to do other things, my heart always like help people and give back to like the community as it once helped me.
All right, so I want to transition into AED and being pre-med in general. And I was just wondering, generally, what was AED's impact on your journey and like what did you find most helpful?
So for me, when I first joined AED was we still offer like very similar opportunities to our members, but I wanted to take it like up a notch, right? All the opportunity that was given to me was amazing and it took me to where I was like today, like where I am, like not today, but like where I was for a little bit further. Like it gave me a chance to go to Costa Rica, which I didn't even think like in my like never in my life have I imagined like going to Costa Rica. I always hear of it, but actually being able to go there and provide healthcare there was like a very like sentimental like moment for me. Um, I also had a lot of chances like learning about volunteering in Houston because before that I would only like volunteer in the hospital. I never got to volunteer around our community and what it's like to see like Houston and our culture. Like we volunteer a lot of Beacon. I always volunteer there, even without AD. It took me to a place where it makes me feel like home. So I started volunteering on Sunday with AD, but after AD, we don't have AD in the summer, right? I still continue volunteering there and I built a really good relationship with the people there. And like, I love serving food. There's something about, well, I love food in general. So like being able to serve the food to other people makes me like feel very happy. Um, and then as well as like other things, like, the podcast, I want to take this up a notch and do like streaming so that our the things AED have done could be more well known, spread out, or if members have not had a chance to like, go see us in person, they could still over like look over our material online and be able to like have those opportunity given to them as well. And then the medical brigade, like we went to Costa Rica, and then so that's why I thought about Vietnam, my own country, and I was like, okay, I really want to, make a larger impact on the people next year, on the new members. So that's why I brought it to my own country and let you guys experience our culture, our hospital, which is very, very different from our hospital here, right? The no AC part was very not traumatizing, but very it was a good experience, but
Yeah,
it was a learning experience, but so hot over there. I'm very grateful for what we have to offer and I want to continue being able to like push that further. I'm glad you took over the podcast, being able to like make more memories and more material for our members as well.
yeah, as someone that went to Vietnam, just a great experience. It was like incredibly hot, like even worse than Houston. Like that was not good. But just overall, just seeing what like the healthcare is like in a different environment and like we just take so much for granted, like in America. Um,
Yeah.
like we have like one bed per room, we have AC, we have water, we have food, but they sometimes don't have that. And like that was just kind of eye-opening to see. I like that you mentioned the people. Like I talked a little bit about the resources that AD provides, so like MCAT books, like study groups, just volunteering resources. But I feel like another big part of it is just making friends and like building long connections. Especially as someone that didn't know any pre-meds, like all of my friends are kind of just through sports or through work or just other areas. And I didn't really know anyone that was taking OChem. I didn't know anyone that was taking whatever biochem, stuff like that. And just like being able to like go through that with other people and like build longer relationships because they're going through the same things. Um, that was really helpful for me, I feel like, and it will be helpful in the future.
Definitely like your friends have a really big impact on you because that's the people you're like around, right? That's your environment. And your environment shape who you are. So for me, before that, my friends were like lawyer, like in like pre-law, pre-business, everything else that's not pre-med. So when I first joined AED, it was like everybody was like taking the same. And the thing is like when you go to class, most we're so big that most people like are in AED. So like being like, oh, I know you from the event. I didn't know you have this class. So like we just built a study group together. I made like a lot of good friends, especially through our intern programs, like being a members we just go to events or like we just do the events or like we volunteer we just do what we're told or like do work there. We don't actually get to connect one on one. But whenever we joined the intern program, it was like we had a large intern group. It was like 40 of us. So we got to know more about one another in our journey in AD into medicine. So that was really helpful. And once we all became officer, those people we made a connection with still came back and still be in our club. So we were able to like remember those faces and be like, oh my God, like how have you been? And you were in the intern program last year. Some of them do rerun too. And it's like really nice being able to like still have that bond throughout your undergrad year.
Yeah, and a lot of it also is like it doesn't have to be like just academic friends. Like you can do other stuff. One my probably my favorite memory from this past year was the intramural basketball. And like that has nothing to do with studying. It's just like getting with the guys and like doing something that I really enjoyed during high school and middle school. And it's like I didn't think I would be able to have that with like a group of people that I like knew well enough. I thought it would just be random people. But to be able to do that with like premeds and just like have something to do other than studying is really helpful for me. What was like your favorite memory?
My favorite memory was it was like a workshop that I created. I think we're gonna continue it.
Yeah.
Definitely check out our Instagram to see when that workshop is happening. It's called Paint with AED. I just wanted to paint. But then I was like, okay, well, I'm competitive. I want to see which one of us, like is gonna have like a better painting. But like we just all kind of get together, paint, talk about like life in general, like, oh, what do you like to do? Or, like what do you want to do? And then just like normal stuff that we don't get to connect. Like it's hard to make friends in college. Hard as it is already, because like you go in class and you come out, there's like 300 people in our class. So like you never have a chance to like really talk. And this is like the perfect opportunity for us to just sit down. Another one is our karaoke. Oh my God, I love like we all just get together and sing. And I'm just like, I'm not the best singer, but it's so fun to see everyone just like, pouring their heart out, just sitting there and singing. And like we're also supportive because one of us that can't sing, which is all like kind of joining in the duet. And I think like all the memories I made in AED, whether it's like related to like medicine or just like casual friendship, it's all very meaningful. And I hope to continue a lot of these friendship like throughout like my undergrad year and then toward, well, I don't have that much time left, but even in med school, right? I really want to continue building these like relationship with them.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that I really like getting to know people, like what their story is, like hearing about why they're pre-med, whether it's their own journey or like their family or like just why they want to help people. I think that was really interesting because for me, it was like my own health problems that made me want to like help people and like serve the community that like helped me, if that makes sense. So I think it's just really interesting to see like why other people want to get into this field and whether it's even if it's like completely different than why I wanted to, it's just kind of interesting. All right, moving on to our next topic. I wanted to talk about how you survived being pre-med or like how you kind of manage stress. So I was just wondering, how do you like manage the heavy science course load while doing other things like research or you have work or AED?
So like for me now it's a little easier, right? I'm in my last year, so I think, this is not my first rodeo. I got it down, but I think my first year managing like being an officer in AD, and we have an event every single day. And then my like 7 classes that I took, the work I work every other day, so I work 3 days a week. It was like all very stressful. I didn't like at one point I was like, I don't feel like my life is like my life anymore because the things I used to do, the things I used to enjoy, I'm nowhere near like even like just like a glimpse of that, right? And what kept me going was like my determination to get to where I wanted to be, which is in med school, right? But at some point I lost myself and I was like I had to like and then it kind of like burned me out, and then like that's when I was like, okay, I don't want to be in medicine anymore, I'm gonna go. But then when I came back to medicine, I was like, okay, well, last time I was like very burnt out, what can I do this time? So I started to like implement the things I love into like the life of like a pre-med, right? So I go to work, but after work I kind of like go for a matcha run. I love like going to like get matcha and then just like seeing Houston around, like just walking at a park, like de-stressing yourself, right? And then, school is very difficult, like, especially with our like workload of like science classes. But I try to like study like as much as I can. But outside of studying, like I would take, UH is kind of like not like too much walk. Like we have a lot of construction going on right now, but before I was able to walk around the area, just like take some like breath of fresh air. And whenever I do feel like, oh, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, listen to your body. Like when it's telling you like you're tired, like, or you're like, why don't I feel like I want to do anything? That means like you're burnt out. Go to sleep. Like go take a nap, wake up and redo it. You don't have to like force yourself to sit there. You're not gonna remember the material anyways. And then for me, also like being around my family. I love being around my family, cooking for them, eating with them, just like enjoying like still keep part of you of who you are, your life, your aspect like in life, like your perspective. Like don't lose part of yourself while trying to like go through this like rigorous journey because you can't help other if you're not really like well as well.
Yeah, I think it is really important to be able to find a balance in between like study, 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 work, 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 and doing like something that's enjoyable. Or even if it's not enjoyable, just to like clear your mind. Like I feel like I know both of us have felt this, but like a lot of pre-meds, you just like study for hours and you get to the point where your brain is just not, it's not, you can't focus. So like I just like go for a run or go lift or something because that like kind of de-stresses my mind, gets like focus on something else, then you can come back and you're more productive than you were before. That's
Yeah.
just something that works for me, and or just like you said, going out for matcha, even though matcha is overrated, but
Okay. Hot take.
or just like doing anything that you really enjoy, like whether it's watching sports or even going to an AED event. Like it can be anything that you want to just like de-stress yourself, get your mind off of it, and then you can just like refocus and lock back in, and you'll be able to study better than you were before.
Like it's very important to like live life like you're still in your undergrad, you're gonna be going through med school and you're gonna be going through your residency, so this is the only time you get to live life more than your future, right? Like you have all that time ahead of you, you have everything still there, right? It's not going anywhere, you'll still get there. I think it's like very a lot of people are very harsh on themselves because like everyone is on a race with each other for some reason. They're trying to get to med school, right? Because like it's hard and you don't know for sure you're gonna be able to get there. So everyone's racing to get there. But then it's okay to take longer than other people if you need a break for yourself. Like if it's for your mental health, take a gap year. Take two, travel the world, like live your life. Make sure that you are who you are before you try to like, make a name for yourself or make your future because there's no future, there's no you right now.
Yeah, I think it is true that a lot of pre-meds get caught up in like, oh, I need to be the best, I need to be better than everybody. And it's like at the end of the day, you're gonna get burnt out if that's all you're caring about. Because like there will be a time where you're like a resident or attending physician. You're like, why am I doing this? Like, why does any of this matter? And it's like exactly like that. You can't just brute force your way through getting all of it by wanting to be better than other people. Like you have to have a reason.
That's
Um,
why sometimes I hate how like it's our like the pre-med system is built on like competition, the best one make it in, right? But it's like, well, when we're doctor, it's not about who's the best doctor. It's if you're able to like help the patient or not, right? If you're able to solve this problem that's presented to us in a hospital, you don't need the best doctor. You need a team of doctor that could like work out this like illness, especially when it came to like, during like our COVID year, right? When coronavirus like broke out, it was like, well, I'm a really good doctor, but like, like we're all good doctors. It's just if this something is new, like it's presented to us, one person is not going to be able to find a cure in that short amount of time, right? Having a team of doctor that giving different perspective is like they're able to like build onto each other idea, right? So even like I say like you're not as strong in the field of like drug development, but you have like more knowledge in like pathology or cell in the body, you're able to like help them and guide them to create that like vaccine better. So I think, we need to like improve our pre-med system or our medical system where it's like we help each other and build onto each other instead of trying to like compete against each other, which is like why I like AD, right? When we're in there, we're all little, like we're just friends. We're literally like going to our workshop together, be like, oh, what you're doing? Oh, you need help? Like we could study together. I could show you like how I went about it, like how my study schedule looked like, just like kind of built onto each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a little bit of like healthy competition is obviously going to be good, but like as AED, we strive to like help our community and like we want everybody to succeed. Like that's the whole point of being there. So it's like if we all just want to be better than each other, then like nothing is going to be productive. And like I feel like med schools are kind of trending towards that, and that there's so many essays and like personal statements, and like they're not just to be able to write an essay, like they want to see why you care and like are you able to work as a team? Like are you a genuinely good person? Like they want to see all that. Um, and I feel like schools are kind of just like trending away from just like straight MCAT, straight GPA. They want to see like who is the best person for the job that can like communicate well with patients and just treat people as humans. Because I feel like our healthcare system is like very robotic and that like they just see dollar signs and like surgeries and pills and like you just have to do this. But I hope at least med schools are more focused now on like people that actually want to help.
I personally agree with like the myth of us getting into the field of like just MCAT, GPA, MCAT, GPA. That's needed to get you into med school, right? But that's not all it is. It's it's a very big requirement, right? You need to have good grades to show them how dedicated you are. You need to have the MCAT because taking the MCAT is like very, very rigorous. They want to see if you, it's not about them seeing how good of a test taker you are, if you know those knowledge. They're going to reteach you everything in med school. They just want to see if you have that determination. Like the MCAT, your grades are basically just like proof of your hard work, right? Because they obviously don't know you as a person because they haven't been there your whole life. So those are the only like statistic that they can look back onto, kind of show you like that you are, determined to you at least somewhat like, have that knowledge, that background knowledge to get you here. And then being holistically, right now we're talking about med school, kind of really looking into you as a person. Are you a good person? You could be super smart, but you generally don't like really care about the patient. You just want to like look at them as like is a case, like, oh, they have this. Sometimes the patient have like an illness where it's like it hurts, but I want someone to listen to me. Like that may be the problem, but that's not the problem I want you to fix. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, especially my mom, I take her to the doctor. She's like, the doctor is like, oh, like my mom was like, my back hurt, and then the doctor's like, okay, well, you need to like, I could give you this medicine and you could work like less. And she was like, okay, but that's not like how she wants to fix it, right? So it's also being able to listen to your patient. So med school is looking for that. Like, are you a good listener? Are you like, have you have any experience? Some people are like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor, but they've never stepped foot inside a hospital like in their whole life, like other than like them being hurt, right? And I'm just like, how do you know you want to do this if you've never been in that environment? And then especially with another myth, I think it's like really big is also with um research. Everyone want you to get published and then get like all these certification. It's like it's not that like it looks good on your resume, right? But it's not as much needed. They just want to see like how much of like student that you're able to be, especially when you're trying to like research something related into the field that you want to go into, right? It's just showing your like side hobbies are the things you're able to manage while you're a pre-med.
Yeah.
Um, I know you do a lot of more research than I do. So like what do you have to like add on to this?
I would say do research with a purpose. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't make sense to just do research for the sake of doing research because you can like get a publication, you can get all of this like resume building stuff. But like if at the end of the day you don't really care about why you're doing it, like you're just doing it for the resume, like they're gonna see through that. So like if you want to do like neuro, like I want to be a neurosurgeon. So like I'm doing neuroscience research right now. And like I want to do like combine my math skills. So like I did a biostatistics summer internship and like they'll be able to see that and I can talk about it because I'm genuinely interested in that. So like if you were like just pre-med but you don't want to but you want to do neuroscience, but it's like you're doing some cancer project just because it looks good, like they're gonna be like, okay, why did you do this? And you're gonna be like, well, it looked good. And they're like, okay, so what? So I would say that my biggest advice is just like find something that you genuinely care about. Because like if at the end of the day you don't really care about it, you're not gonna pursue it as a whole lifelong career. And like I want to do neuroscience research for like the rest of my life. So like this is a good starting point for me versus like if I didn't, I'm just gonna do this and then stop and go do something else. And like it isn't as productive as doing something that you actually care about.
What do you think about like them looking into like MCAT in our grades and just dissecting that all like just mainly that's their main focus? Because I know some school that's very big factor for them, right? Some med school it's like strongly heavily like based on your grades.
I would say it's more of just like a box you have to check. Like I have talked to people who are on admissions committees for med school, and they're like, "Yeah, we just get sent the GPA, and we sometimes don't even look over the transcript. Like they just check a box if it's like meets the requirement of what they want, and then they just go on to the other stuff of like what you do as like what volunteering you do, what work you do, like what are you passionate about, what is your personal statement. So I feel like it's just something you have to have, and obviously having a better GPA than not having a better GPA is better. Um, but for I would guess that most schools just care about it as like a minimum requirement, and then like what else do you offer? Like, are you able to communicate with people? Like you said, have you set foot in a hospital before? Like, can you talk to a patient as a regular human being? Um,
For me, as well as like your grades, MCAT you could retake. Well, there's a limit of how many you could take in your whole lifetime, but your grades you could always fix. You could take post-bac, you could do a master, you could take more classes to fix your GPA. Those is an easy fix, you know. Your MCAT, you study, you go through more courses, you keep like taking like practice exam, you're gonna see a number of like of those like questions popping up again in the same like exam. So it's those grades and MCAT and tests, they're easy fix. What you can't like gain is harder to gain is your experience like the experience you have in your life, right? Working in a hospital is hard to find a hospital job, right? That it gives you steady work. Research, not all research are like the quality that med school are looking for. Doing like your own research that like Connor said, like he loved neuro, like doing something in the field that you want to work in. So you have more to talk when you have that interview. They're definitely gonna ask you like, hey, like about your research. What did you like about it? You're gonna be like, oh yeah, I kind of did it, but you don't have like anything else to like say about it. Like you got publication, but what interests you in it, right? For me, I my for my research has nothing to do with medicine. But it gives me so much to talk about, so much. It was like a research in Galapagos Island is about the like our ecosystem and wildlife. It's like, well, it's not anything related to medicine, but it's something I'm very proud of and it's something that I'm very interested in. So it gives me more talk about, and it shows my like dedication towards something. So even though like med school is just looking for your like how strong of a person you are to be able to withstand all of the information and the rigorous journey that they're gonna put you through while you're in their med school. Because they're gonna, I like whenever we're touring med school, right? They always tell us like, oh, your first 2 years, you're gonna be fed in a lot of information. And I think most of them say like your first 2 to 3 weeks, you're gonna learn everything about your undergrad in 2 to 3 weeks, and you're gonna take an exam right after that, and it's just basically your whole undergrad stuff in those one exam for the 2 to 3 weeks of knowledge they're feeding you into, and the rest of that they're gonna teach you all new material. They're gonna teach you like about the system and the body and the things you haven't learned. So it's not about like it's not about the grades or the material and stuff that you, especially with OChem. I'm always thinking, why do I need to know these little structure, this little octagon or whatever shape it is? Why does it matter if I hit it with alcohol or not? And like it's it's just like I want, like, finally I'm in my senior year, right? So I realize like it's not what they're trying to teach me. It's the method or the guidance they're guiding me toward. Like the discipline they're putting me through.
Yeah, like it's more of like a learning process versus just a memorization of like these different chemicals that you need to learn. Like you're not going to be able to be like, oh, hydrogen reacts with like this boron, and then you're going to save the patient's life. Like that's not how it works. But it is like the process of thinking through a problem and like just not getting to an answer, but like being creative in how you deal with problems, I guess, which is kind of what you're talking about. Like you could make a mistake, or you could like do a whole semester of just like research that you're not interested in, or you could bomb a class, and then you have to take some time for internal reflection, be like, okay, what I didn't do that right. What do I want to do now? And it's kind of just that pivoting course of like, I need to do what's best for me and myself to like improve my learning and improve myself as a person.
And a lot of people don't realize, like, a lot of medical students are older.
Yeah.
They got out, work, and then come back. And med school actually prefer like those type of student. They want to see them have experience in life, especially if they came back from like working in the med field, right? It's like it's not all about like your grades and stuff like that. So I just think the journey that your life take you on is way better than just like what numbers could give you.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you only live once. So it's like, do you want to be looking back at your life of, oh, I got the best GPA? And
Well,
want
to
the best.
some people, I think to some people, like grades is all that matter for them. So if your grades is all that matters to you, kudos to you, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, so for most of us, it's about our journey in life.
Yeah.
Um, for the medical, like, how like our volunteering experience or our shadow or clinical experience, we could just work in the local hospital here, right?
Yeah.
But how many of us, well, the 30 of us, how many of us could say we went to Vietnam, work in a hospital there, right? Except the 30 of us that went. But it was just such a cool experience. Medical Brigade, I go on one every single year. I hope to go on one this year with us again. It's gonna be my last year going, so I'm gonna be so sad. That's my third year in a row. Um, but hopefully, I love traveling. So being able to implement traveling into my journey as a pre-med meant a lot for me. I always was like, I don't want being pre-med or like being anything like being a med student or like anything in medicine to stop me from loving my journey in life, right? So I was always an advocate for global health, and that's the path I guide toward. I also want to do pathology, right? So I want to be able to take those and kind of forge it into one, make it my own journey, and still be able to travel. So, being that I go along a lot of medical brigade, I experience hospital around the world, like globally. I want to, once I have the opportunity, like to go to med school, I want to take that journey still into med school and still like look outside of our country into other country. Maybe I could go to med school in another country, being able to like toward the journey I'm going through. So I could go there and then come back and do our program. That's always an option as well.
Yeah. It's kind of like you said, like defining your journey. Like, what do you want to study? What do you want to build your life towards? Like for me, I want to do like neuroscience specifically because like mental illness had like a big impact on my life and the people that I know. And like there's not much I mean there's some research, but like it's not as far as I think it could be. And like I want to like pioneer like new developments and new treatments in terms of that. So it's like that's what makes me excited. And like everybody has a different purpose and like what excites them to like keep working, keep moving forward. And I feel like we've been giving a lot of like general advice, but for like freshmen and like younger pre-meds, like we're juniors and seniors, so like we have more experience. Obviously not compared to like med students or physicians, but like I feel like for freshmen or like first year pre-meds, it would just be don't worry as much about like the specifics of like I need this grade, I need to take this class, I need this GPA, but like most importantly, figure out what you care about. Because like at the end of the day, that's what you're gonna circle back to, and like that's what you're gonna rely on when times get tough. So like you can take all the like prereqs and like do the research, but like if you don't know why you're doing it, like it's not gonna work in the long term.
For I totally agree. Like, as a um freshman, like you're a freshman for a reason. Like you're fresh into this. And I think my main advice, like my last final advice to like, those that just enter pre-med, freshman, sophomore, or even if you're a junior and you just switch over, right? Make as much mistake as possible because that's how you learn. Don't go out and go crazy on those mistakes now, but like little mistake, be like, oh, I messed up on this like quiz, I gotta redo it. But those kind of thing like guide you toward, and it builds endurance. It's built your stamina. It makes you a better like student. So whenever you make a mistake, don't like look down on yourself. Take those as a lesson and always look for the future. Go look ahead and continue to build onto a better future and onto a better, like make yourself a better person each day rather than looking back in the past.
Yeah, I think like just having an open mindset and being willing to learn from your mistakes and your successes is probably it's very broad, like long-term advice, but it's like it's very important just for being pre-med and just being a person in general. Well, with that said, thank you, Melody, so much for sharing your stories, advice, and encouragement. I know today's conversation will resonate with a lot of undergrads and just pre-meds in general who are trying to figure things out like one step at a time.
Thank you so much for having me. It feels so nice to like be back, but like it feels very different being back as a guest rather than a hostess. But I hope you guys are able to take some of my advice or just sit here and listen to me yap because I'm such a yapper. But if you want to, you can always come to our event, meet us. If you're interested, join our medical brigade. I know we both mentioned that a lot in this podcast. If that's something you want to like gain experiences on, come to our first UBM. They're gonna review the location. If you want to volunteer, looking for volunteer opportunities, we always do volunteer on the weekend as well. And check out our website. It's ad.uofh.com. So it has all of our resources there and our calendar of our upcoming events. I hope to see you guys out there.
Yep, and make sure to pull up to our first GBM on September 11th at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to cover in future episodes, leave them in the comments or email us at aed.uofh@gmail.com. You can find all of our links and social handles in the description below. We hope to see you all at our first GBM this Thursday, September 11th. Thank you again. Signing off, your reporter, Connor Asmus.